Hello students, welcome to MSc Finance Economics session. Today we are going to discuss various approaches to profit maximization. There are various approaches, namely PRTC approach and MRMC approach. We are going to see how equilibrium is reached in these approaches and how a firm maximizes its profit at that equilibrium output. The objective of any firm is to maximize the profit. Basically, profit equals total revenue minus total cost. The total revenue is, as everybody knows, it is priced into quantity sold, whereas the total cost is priced into quantity produced. There are two approaches to profit maximization, namely the TRTC approach, that is the total revenue, total cost approach, and the MRMC approach, which is the marginal revenue, marginal cost approach. Let us first discuss about the TRTC approach, that is how a firm can maximize its profit with this TRTC approach. You can see the diagram. In the above diagram, it can be seen that on the y-axis, ये जो y-axis है, यहाँ पे आप जो देख रहे हो y-axis, ये y-axis पे cost and revenue लिया गया है, and on the x-axis quantity is taken. All right. So you see, this is the total cost curve. ये आपको total cost curve दिख रही है. This is the total revenue curve. Okay, and according to the total revenue, total cost approach, okay, profits are maximum when the gap between the total revenue curve and the total cost is maximum. You can see here the total cost is rising. Definitely the total cost is greater than the total revenue, and it starts rising as output goes on rising. Okay, and you can see it's upward sloping curve this way. Okay, sloping upwards, it goes on rising. Let us see the nature of total revenue curve. The total revenue curve also rises, goes on rising. At this point, TR is equal to TC, but the output is, you can see it is just OQ1. If further total revenue goes on rising, okay, and it's allowed to rise, output will go on increasing, and you can see that at this, until it reaches at point M, the total revenue becomes maximum. The total cost is NQ, and you can see that the gap between the total revenue and total cost is MN, which is depicted by this, okay, maximum profit. Now further, if total revenue rises, output will go on increasing, but though output increases, total revenue may fall and cost will go on rising. So it is, you can see that under total revenue, total cost approach, the output, the optimum output is at OQ2, and the maximum profit here is OMN. You can see this is what is the maximum profit, MN. So MN is the gap here, okay, and you can see the gap between TR and TC. MN is the maximum at output level, OQ2. Now let us consider the MRMC approach. As far as the MRMC approach is concerned, we need to understand that under marginal revenue and marginal cost approach, the conditions for profit maximization are given as MR equals MC. You can see this MR equals MC is the first condition, and MC cuts MR from below, which means that after the intersection point of MR and MC, MC goes on increasing. Okay, this is a case of a monopolist profit. You can see that demand curve is also called as average revenue curve. इसे हम average revenue curve भी कहते हैं. This is the marginal revenue curve drawn here, and you can see that the equality of marginal revenue and marginal cost is the point of equilibrium. You can see marginal revenue and marginal cost here is intersecting at this point, MR and MC curve, and this is the point of equilibrium output. Now you can see that the marginal cost, okay, is given by QC. QC is the marginal cost is given by this curve. Average cost is given by the curve QC, whereas the average revenue is given by BQ. In the above diagram, it can be seen that a monopolist is earning a supernormal profit. Why he is earning supernormal profit? Because the gap between the average revenue and average cost is existing. You can see this gap. correct? Your average revenue is actually equal to BQ, whereas the average cost is equal to CQ, average cost or average total cost. So this is the average total cost, this is the average revenue, and therefore the gap here, okay, this gap actually will determine the profit. But when we talk in terms of total cost and total revenue, total cost will be given by quadrilateral ODCQ, correct? This is the total cost area. Let me rub it, I'll show you again, we'll erase it, and I'll show you the total cost area also. The total cost area is actually depicted by, this is the total cost area, that is quadrilateral ODCQ, whereas the total revenue area is the rectangle, bigger rectangle here, OEBQ, and the total revenue is the bigger rectangle, correct? Whereas the total cost is the square here, correct? And when you deduct total revenue from the total cost, profit is actually defined as the difference between the total revenue and total cost. You can see that the total revenue minus this total cost, this is the area which is the profit earned by the monopolist. You can see this profit is given by the area DCEB. So the firm earns maximum profit here. Again, the conditions are, I repeat the conditions, MR equals MC, marginal revenue equals marginal cost, and MC cuts MR from below, that is marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue from below. In our mathematical terminologies and mathematical interpretation, we had already done this when we said that MR is actually nothing but dR by dx in terms of mathematics. Okay, whereas MC is dC by dx, and we equate them to get the equilibrium output. This is how we go, okay, using the mathematical interpretation, and then we get the equilibrium output. And for profit maximizing condition, we also check the other condition, your D square P. Okay, P is a profit function by dx square is less than 0. So this is the mathematical terminology which we have already done. I just wanted to discuss the two approaches, TR and TC plus MR and MC. So for this, I am uploading this video. Please feel free to give your feedbacks, and if you are not understanding, you can get back to me through personal WhatsApps. Thank you.